Julian here, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make music like Porter Robinson. Now, as usual, you can get the project file and samples and MIDI and presets from this video all in the link in the description. Is the first link in the description. You can't miss it. And yeah, if you want to support me, it's a great way to do it. If you want to help out this channel, it's also a great way to do it. So let's dive in. So here's the project file. You already heard this in the intro, and I'm just going to go layer by layer and kind of show you what's going on. So the first thing we have here is this chord synth, which sounds like this. It's very simple. Basically, it's playing these very simple chords, which are just triads, meaning they're just 3 notes. And usually, when you say a triad, it refers to a chord that has just the root note, the third, and then the fifth. And that's what these chords are. They're just these simple major and minor chords. And they're playing this kind of like big, epic kind of chord progression, which is very Porter Robinson-esque. These are like the kind of chord progressions I find he really likes to use a lot. So yeah, I was just kind of going for that vibe. Now, as far as the synth sound goes, it's also pretty simple. What it is it's a saw wave, and then I have the unison on. It's on classic mode, and it's on 8 voices with the amount up to 66%. We're in wavetable, if I haven't already said. You can really do this in a lot of synths, like any synth, really. I just like wavetable because the unison is kind of easy to work with, and I thought it sounded good. But yes, like I said, saw wave with the unison. And then the last real main thing about this sound is if you look at the matrix, you'll see I have the LFO1 on the amplitude, and it's on very heavily at 100%. So all that's doing is it's giving it like that the kind of rhythm. If I turn it off. So yeah, that's just how I'm giving it that kind of like pulsating rhythm. Now, as far as effects go, I do have this Redux on here, which is like not really doing a whole lot, but what it's doing is kind of important. So I'll show you. You hear when I turn it off, it doesn't quite have as much texture. It doesn't quite have that like digital sort of like rough feel that a lot of Porter Robinson's music has. So he uses bit crushing a lot. I think he really likes it for like effects and stuff and to give things different textures. And it's rightfully so. It is a good effect for doing these kinds of things. So I have that on here. And then I just have this compressor on here, which is sidechaining it to the kick and just giving it that kind of pulsing effect. Pretty simple. Now, as far as the next layer goes, it's this chord synth, which is the same exact chords and the same exact patch as the first chord synth I showed you, except it's up an octave because I have this up 12 semitones, and then it's on a square wave. So this is just adding a bit of depth to like the whole mix, because without it, the chords just didn't sound quite as full. It really helps to fill out that high end and just give the chords a little bit of presence, just really throughout the frequency spectrum. So yeah, and then as far as effects go on this synth, it's actually the same effects as well, just this bit crusher, and then I have it sidechained. As far as the bass sound goes, it sounds like this. And this is actually kind of the same patch as the first one as well. So what we have here is I have a saw wave, same as the first one, and we have this LFO on the volume, same as the first one. The only difference with this one is I have a low pass filter on it to cut out some of the highs from that saw wave. And then I have this sub oscillator on as well underneath it, just to give it some power, because the saw wave on its own didn't quite have enough low harmonics. But this just kind of beefs it up a bit. Now as far as effects go on this sound, I have another Redux on it. This time it's on the hard mode actually, so if you don't know, with Ableton's Redux there's kind of 2 settings. There's a soft and then hard. And on soft, you get that bit crushing feeling, but it doesn't go quite as deep. And then on hard mode, you can just like take it into bit crushed oblivion, I would suppose. So yeah, I have it on hard mode, but it's on a very low setting, and it's just giving it that nice kind of bit crushy crunch. And then after that, I just have a compressor sidechaining it to the kick, just like the other chords. So yeah, the next thing I will show you is actually this, which is just this little white noise that kind of plays throughout the track. So this is a very easy layer to recreate. All I did was I took some white noise in operator, and then I put it through a bandpass filter with no resonance. So we're not getting any kind of like extra bump in any frequencies. We're just getting a really clean bandpass. And yeah, it's just set like this. So it's like still white noisy and still very airy, but it's not too sharp. I was finding when I turned this up a little bit or down, it can either be like too sharp or too kind of soft and almost like low passy. So this sounded like a pretty good setting to me. And then I just have the sidechain to the kicks. So this layer is actually pretty important. You may not even have really picked up on it when you were hearing it before, but it's really important because it's just kind of adding a bit of high end to the mix. And high end is where all the hype comes from. High end is like when you hear like a big EDM drop that feels like a lot of energy and feels like, you know, gets you all hyped up. It's mostly the high end that's doing that. That's just sort of where all the hype lies. So adding a layer of white noise like this to just kind of sit in the high end over top of everything else can be very effective. And you see when I turn this off, it kind of sounds like something is missing. So yeah, that was very important. And I don't know if I already said, but that's also sidechain to the kick. So yeah, it's obviously because you wouldn't want it to just be playing in the background. Now, the next thing I will show you is a little melody. So the melody sounds like this. It's 2 layers. It's this vocal sample, and then this little bell sample. So, as far as the notes this is playing, it's pretty straightforward. This is, again, just like a very common Porter Robinson style melody in the key of F major, which is what this entire little song is in. And yeah, just like these very pentatonic, simple, but catchy and repetitive melodies are very Porter Robinson-esque. Like, I hear him doing this a lot. Of course, in like Sad Machine, Shelter, all that kind of stuff, he did this. And I think it's just a big cornerstone of his style. And it's something that a lot of people really like about his music, too. It's very catchy. It's very, easy to sort of pick up on the melodies and remember them. And yeah, so it's important to write stuff like that. So that was kind of my goal, writing these melodies. As far as the sounds go, the first layer, like I said, is this vocal sample. Pretty simple. It's just a vocal one-shot. I'll show you. Of course, this is in the sample pack that you can get with this video. But what I have going on... Yeah, so what I have going on as far as effects go is I just have a reverb, and then I have it sidechained to the kick as well. It just felt like it needed a little extra space and sort of like breath, which the reverb also helps with, like bringing it to life a little bit. And then, of course, the sidechain just to keep it under control and to keep it uniform with the rest of everything else. As far as the bell sample goes, again, pretty simple. Just a bell sample. And I have it going through reverb and a sidechain compressor once again. Now, this layer is really just there to sort of beef up the vocal. The vocal sample on its own wasn't quite enough. So adding the bell just gives it some body really all around and gives it really a nice layer to help beef it up. Now, the next thing I will show you are the drums. And the drums are pretty simple. They sound like this. And then there's this little Tum Fill as well. So they're really simple. Basically what I have going on is I have this kick here. Sounds like that. Just like a pretty strong, punchy kick. Are the kind of ones that I hear Porter using. He's very, he uses these kind of kicks a lot. So I'd recommend looking for some that kind of sound like this. Now, I do have a little bit of an EQ on there. It's just cutting out some stuff around 200 hertz. It was kind of bumped up, and it was just giving me a little bit of trouble and in the mix, and it didn't really sound quite right, so I just cut it out there. Then other than that, it's just a matter of leveling the kick out to be kind of on top of the mix. And yeah, now, next thing here are these claps, which sound like this. So the claps are 2 layers. It's this one, and then this one. So the first one is kind of like the body of the clap, and it's mostly what you're hearing when you hear this clap, it's pretty simple. It's just this sample. Didn't really do much to it. And then the second one is this one, which is more of like a punch, but really it's just kind of adding a little bit of extra like sauce to this clap. It's just like sitting on top of it, and again, just giving it a little bit of an extra kind of oomph on that when it hits with the little like thing kind of going into it. And yeah, that's pretty simple. I just high passed it because that low end wasn't really working. There's too much going on in this mix to really have a big punchy snare like that. So I cut it out. And yeah, I think these really make good layers together. Like I think they really complement each other. So that's the clap. Now, I also have this hi-hat. Very simple. I have it sidechained to the kick just to sort of keep it under control and not have it be too loud in the mix when those other synths are also being sidechained to the kick. And then I just have this little pattern in here as well where the velocities kind of like go up toward the upbeat and then down again. Yeah, very simple. It's just giving it a little bit of rhythm in the background and a little bit of movement. Now the last thing here is this little Tum Fill that I made, which sounds like this. So this is very simple. I basically just took this tom sample, and then you'll see here it's regularly pitched. I just kind of pitched it up and down. Yeah, here we go. -3, -3 as well. So I just kind of pitched it down for these different parts, -9. And then I also made this little thing, that. And then all I did to do that was I just took the very short part of this sample here, and then I pasted it in. But what I did was I have the volumes kind of going up, so it's like it like builds into it, if that makes any sense. But yeah, it's really simple. And then I just have a little reverb on there, so it didn't just sound too dry, and it kind of fit into the space of this track. So yeah, that's really it with this one. Like I said, the main things are the big kind of epic feeling chords with not a lot of layers, but a few layers to really make them powerful. And then the really catchy melodies, and just kind of like the sound design stuff. So this is going to be it for today, guys. Make sure to let me know what you think of this video in the comments, and make sure to like this video as well as subscribe. Once again, if you want to, you can get the project file and samples and MIDI and presets from this video in the description on my Bandcamp. It's the first link at the top of the description. And I'll see you guys again tomorrow with another tutorial.